Town is one of Lexington's oldest historically black neighborhoods. It was built just 3 years after the Civil War. The neighborhood sits across from UK's Memorial Hall on South Limestone. It is made up of Prowl as well as Montmullen and Colfax streets.
The area has produced some familiar faces like LA Dodgers World Series champion Sweet Lou Johnson and local blues legend T.D. Young. But now Town is faced with a potential zone change that could wipe out homes and replace them with housing for UK students.
WKYT's Alyssa Williams and photojournalist Darnell Crenshaw spoke to people both for and against the proposal. A story that's new at 5:30.
I'm gonna try my damnedest. I'm gonna play Muhammad Ali on him. I'm gonna fight. I don't want to fight. I think he lost one. This might be one that I have to lose, but somebody's gonna remember that I fought.
She's ready to fight for Town's legacy. Betty Boyd is the president of the Town Neighborhood Association. She has lived here for more than 70 years.
My mama lived here. My grandmother lived here. All my aunties and uncles.
Memories of home could soon be erased.
The whole situation, everything we have, they want.
Now a developer wants to move into Town and change the look of the community, and Boyd is highly upset.
Hell yeah. Why you ask me that? Do I sound like it?
Subtext Acquisitions, based out of St. Louis, wants to build a 101-foot tall mixed-use structure. It will have 251 units, almost 800 bedrooms, with 1,700 feet of retail space on the first floor. The location, right at the corner of Limestone and Pearl Street. Teresa Forbes Lopez is a Town resident.
That means that they can come in and they can bring any building in here that can be any height. And pretty much it will just dismantle this neighborhood.
This is a request by Subtext Acquisitions LLC to rezone a number of properties.
Subtext Acquisitions took their case before the city's planning commission to request a rezone for a portion of Town.
We've heard time and time again at these type of hearings that neighborhoods are very frustrated that they have been overrun by students. If this type of development had been more welcome in the past, the hope would be that those houses would still be owner occupied. They would not be trying to meet the demand of the student housing based on the proximity of the university.
University will love it. Oh yeah, sure, absolutely. Keep the parties on your side of the street. I don't want them on mine. No, sir. You take care of them. Make the money. Gentrification in plain sight.
What's already in plain sight is this historic African-American community. It's now home to a majority white student population. Changes come to Town even before the proposed development. But no matter what, Boyd will continue to fight to not change her address.
Ready to roll, ready to fight. Yeah, that's what it takes.
In Lexington with photojournalist Darnell Crenshaw, Alyssa Williams, WKYT.
And the Planning Commission voted to continue the hearing while the two sides sit down and discuss a better plan that would potentially satisfy both parties. The next meeting is scheduled for October 24th.